Hello, everybody, and welcome to the JSE Investment Challenge. My name is Hlubi Mboya Arnold. And I don't know if you can feel it, but the temperature is slowly rising. But I can promise you, in today's Q&A, we're going to be cooking with gas. So once again, for those of you who have joined us for the very first time, welcome to the JSE flagship Financial Literacy Initiative. And I'm so excited to share with you today's winners. And those are the super actuaries, which I'll be introducing to you later on in the show. But I couldn't do the show without our JSE technical expert, Mr. Rolf Spears. What's up, Rolf?
How are you, Hlubi? Lovely to be on the show.
Fine. Fine. How are you?
No, I'm doing extremely well, and I'm looking forward to engaging with everyone out there that's listening to us today. Really looking forward to all the questions and especially interviewing these experts of the winners that have done so well.
Super Actuaries. Can you believe that name?
They're living up to their name, are they?
Talk about a punch. so, so let's take it back. The JSE Investment Challenge. What is it all about?
Yeah, so what it really is an opportunity for people to learn about the stock market. We're trying to help the youth understand financial literacy. And so therefore, anyone wanting to learn about the stock market and how to invest can be part of this competition. It's a competition where we give you R1 million virtual funds and you buy and sell shares on the stock market. Anyone from any tertiary, whether you're at college or university, can be part of this competition. And you are still able to register on the competition. You then take that R1 million as a team, minimum 2, maximum 4 in the team, and then you go and buy and sell shares on the stock market, and the game will end in September.
I love it. But I think the words that really caught my attention, virtual game. All right, this is a great way to have a practice run for when you get into the real world and spend your really hard-earned cash. But let's move on to my sweet spot, as any woman does, the big word, prizes. So apparently for the University Challenge, it's 3,000 rands up for grabs per team. Am I correct, Rolf?
The 100% correct, Hlubi. 3,000 Rand for
Okay.
the monthly winners.
And then our annual prizes. Can you take us from 3, 2, and 1?
So first prize is you get 25,000 Rand as a team,
Yes.
plus an all expenses paid trip overseas. So that's fantastic prize.
Wow.
Last year, the winning team was able to go to the New York Stock Exchange. So it's extremely a great experience for those that are into this and are able to win. I mean, you're going to go and look at another exchange, get to see how they do things, and obviously experience the luxury of being overseas.
And then that was the first prize. And then our second and third prizes, Rolf?
So second prize is 20,000 Rand, and
Yes.
third prize is 15,000 Rand.
I mean, if those prizes, especially the first prize, doesn't motivate any of you, wherever you are in your investment journey, to really just start, I think that prize money should. Above and beyond all of that, if you want to learn more about our challenge, it is university@jse.co.za. And another part of our show and another segment of our show is for the school learners, and that is schools@jse.co.za. But today, it's about our winners, and those are super actuaries. Rolf, can you remind all of us who are watching the registration process so we can really push more engagement into the show and into the world of investment?
Okay, so basically, if anyone wants to register, anyone listening, whether this is live or later on, if you're watching this recording, you can still go register. You click on university.jsc.co.za, and at the top right-hand corner, you'll find a registration page where you click on that button and you're able then to go and register through your university or college that you belong to. Must be from the same university or college, your teammates. And then you go and register, choose your team name, put in your details, and put in your username and password that you select. And then you can immediately start trading there and then using the details that you've inserted.
I told you guys I couldn't do this show without Rolf. Thank you so much, Rolf. So let's get right into the nitty-gritty. Let's talk about the topics of the game today, the rules of the game. Can you set that up for us, please, Rolf?
Yeah, so there's a few important rules that the teams need to be aware of, and so today we'd like to discuss that, as well as any other rules that teams might be struggling with, and therefore they need to, look at the different rules. If they've got questions around them, they're welcome today to pose them to us, and we can try and assist them in understanding the rules. At the end of the day, we don't want to be disqualifying any of the teams. We want everyone to be winners, and therefore we would like to try and help everyone that's listening today.
Fantastic. I really want to get cracking with today's episode and Q&A session with our super actuaries. When we come back, I'll introduce you to super actuaries. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome back to the JSE Investment Challenge. My name is Hlubi Mboya, and drum roll, please. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all to our winners, and they are the super actuaries. Hello, super actuaries.
Hello, how are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm okay.
Chietse, did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, that's correct.
It's so good to see another woman on this show. When we were rehearsing, I was like, yes, 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 woman power. So congratulations on your win. Where is your teammate?
He's having problems currently, but then he'll be back shortly. I'm sure.
Fantastic. So the stage is ours.
Yeah, it is. Sorry.
Congratulations once again. So tell me about your name, Super Actuaries. Tell us about where it all originated from.
It's not that deep, really. We just thought, okay, what could be our name? And we're both studying actuarial sciences, so we just thought, okay, we might as well be super actuaries. So that's how we came about with the name.
So beauty and brains, and apparently you are currently studying at University of Witwatersrand. Am I correct?
That's right.
Tell me about your subjects. What are you studying? What's going on in your life?
Well, now I'm in third year. We're doing a bit of actuarial economics. It has financial engineering in it, helps a little with the JSE thing. And then doing life contingencies, modeling risks and stuff, something like that.
So I'm assuming, and Ralph, please jump into this conversation, that these subjects that you're taking are really helping you clearly become a winner when it comes to investing. I mean, that's a great tools to have to help you as an investor in the stock exchange.
Yeah, we come across many actually scientists that are doing well. In fact, we actually had to even change the rules for one team that 2 or 3 years ago, both were actuarial scientists, and they basically were studying that in their final year. And they did 2 years in a row, or it was, 2 years in a row that they won the international prize. So, these subjects clearly help the students.
How does it feel like to be a woman in this space? Are you finding that even in class or even, your peers and colleagues, Chiesa, is it a male-dominated career path?
Yeah, that is correct. It is quite male-dominated. Then you see that now we have a couple of females trying to get into the field. So it's not that bad, but it is quite male-dominated.
And what I love about it, it's called breaking the glass ceiling. I love it. And always remember that, you are a reflection of what other young girls of color can really do when it comes to investment and really become when it comes to their careers. So bravo on you and congratulations once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ralph, so super actuaries, how are winners determined in this challenge?
Okay, so basically on a monthly basis, we go and reset the scoreboard. So we've got a monthly scoreboard and an annual scoreboard. And at the end of the day, it's the team that's grown their R1,000,000 to the highest amount during that 1 month period. And super actuaries were able to grow their portfolio to an amount of 68% in that one particular month. And that's why they're the winners. And I mean, that's exceptional. I think that's one of the highest we've had this year so far. So that's what they were able to achieve.
Exceptional. That's a description from Ralph, our JSE tech expert, to the super actuaries. How do you feel about that, Jetsa?
I feel great, to be honest. I didn't think we'll be able to get something, because then sometimes you see yourself, you're like on position 120 something. So I actually didn't think we would be able to win.
And here's your teammate, Shiva. Congratulations and welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, you've been having technical difficulties, but I think that's all sorted out now.
It's all behind us. It's all behind us. As I was speaking to your teammate, your wonderful teammate, it's a very powerful team name, Super Actuaries. You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, so we couldn't come up with any name really, and then my dad actually helped us pick a name. Both of us are studying actuarial science at the University of Wits.
Yes.
And then we said, what better name than Super Actuaries, based on what we're doing.
Trust me, it's a very powerful name. Everyone is intimidated in the room. Trust me.
I hope so.
I think that's what you wanted, huh?
Oh, definitely.
Shiva, tell us about your studies, just a little bit about who you are. Tell us about why you're studying actuarial science. What do you want to do? And has it helped you become an investor on the stock exchange?
Yeah, so well, actuarial science connects very well with investment and that sort of space, I mean, gives you the opportunity. But I think more so than the studies itself is that the JSE has given us the opportunity to actually experience this firsthand, yeah, almost in a virtual reality. To actually gain some sort of experience as to and knowledge as to what the JSE is all about, and how trades go about, and the different options that are available. And I think it just complements our studies very well.
Absolutely. You know what? I really want to hear a little bit more about what you're planning to do with all this knowledge in the future. But a question to the both of you, and Ralph, please do jump into this conversation. What first drew you to the JSE Investment Challenge? How did you hear about it? How did you know? I mean, yeah, tell us more about that. Chietza?
Okay. So I didn't know about the JSE challenge, right? So then Shiva, he knew. So he's like, okay, would you want to join in this thing? And then I'm asking him, okay, what's it all about? He explained everything to me. And then I thought, okay, we're actually using virtual money, right? And then it's an opportunity for me to learn how to do these things. And obviously at a later stage, when I'm using my own money, I would like to probably engage in the trading and stuff. So I thought it's a great opportunity for me. Yeah.
So, Ralph, I mean, basically, that's exactly the point of why we are going on this journey, with students and learners, is to prepare them for the real world. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're trying to attract anyone that would like to learn about finance. I mean, they don't have to be studying towards any commerce or certain degree that's to do with finance. At the end of the day, hopefully they'll all be earning some sort of income one day, and therefore able to know what to do with that money. And I mean, that's the real point, is that we all would like to make sure everyone in South Africa is financial literate and understands how the markets work. And so they're able to then manage their money. And this is a great opportunity. You've got nothing to lose, everything to gain. It's virtual. And so it's a nice way to practice. And that's what we're trying to encourage everyone out there to try and participate and just learn something new. And as I say, I mean, you could be studying to be a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant. You don't necessarily have to be going into the financial field. It's really up to you.
I love that. And really, those are comforting words, because I always say every time we have a Q&A session that I think the world of investment, and when we talk about JSE, people feel like an imposter syndrome. It's very, very daunting. So this is the show where we're really trying to include everyone from all walks of life, from every single career, and really take them on a journey of taking that first step from being a novice to being like a super actuary and being a winner on our scoreboard. So back to you, super actuaries. Let's talk about your trading process. The way you smile when I say your name, it radiates pride. You're really proud of yourselves. Tell us about your trading process. Has it been a bit difficult during lockdown and COVID? Take us through a bit of strategy techniques that you guys have maintained or played through to become the winners in the University Challenge. Let's start with you, Shiva.
Okay, so our strategy was mainly to understand that okay, this firstly is a tough time,
Yeah.
given that we through a pandemic like COVID-19. So
Yes.
the market itself is really volatile, and this doesn't give us too much of an opportunity in terms of certainty to the situation, So we try to use the volatility to our advantage, and we're quite happy that it's actually played out to our advantage in this case. Initially, we started out with the set capital, which we lost close to half of that capital within the first 2 weeks or so, due to due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and then also due to the fact that the markets are driven by a lot of sentiment, we lost quite a bit of our equity capital. So it's been a tough challenge to actually come back and actually regain that capital and then grow it further. So yeah.
Chietza, how would you say this is a character also building, this process of playing on the investment challenge? It's also character building because you have your goods and you have your bad times, you have your wins and your losses.
That's very true. So you see, when we went low, like when we lost most of our capital, like one would probably like you would give up, right? Because then you're thinking, okay, where am I gonna get the capital back? How am I going to grow this? But then we just thought, okay, why not just start again, start from scratch, and try to build our capital back and maybe get other returns. I think it's helpful in the building of character. You have your lows, you have your highs, so you learn to live with that.
What I'm always finding, especially with such smart individuals, just as like you two, where are you finding the time to do all this? Where are you finding the time to learn from your mistakes, to communicate to each other? How is your daily schedule or your weekly schedule when it comes to trading? Ralph, jump in here in this conversation if you find the need to, please. Shietza,
Yeah.
you can answer that, and then Shiva, you can follow.
Okay, so then we having with this whole online school thing, the time is really hectic. But then we
Yeah.
try to say maybe after every day at the end of the day, right? We look at what we have and then we look at the news, see okay, what trade should we engage in? And then maybe on a weekend we sit down to see okay, how did our transactions for the week go about? So that's basically how we do it.
So Shiva, you agree? How often are you and Chietza communicating?
Yes, I do agree. In fact, we actually don't have the time. You actually got to make the time if you want to learn more and go deeper into this.
Absolutely.
We do communicate on a regular basis in order to make share decisions and what have you. And yeah, and we try our best. Yeah, though over this period, things have been quite busy. So actually, we haven't been so active. But yeah, we'll get back into it, seeing that, we're the winners for the last month, and there's something to look forward to.
What I really
Yeah.
wanted to, do you want to
Can
say
I jump
something
in
on?
there? Yeah,
Yes,
Tlubi.
please.
At the end of the day, I love it that the statement there by Shiva that's saying, you need to make time. If you just actually spend time looking at, for example, the All Share Index, which is the main indice of the JSE, it's really like the heartbeat of the JSE. And if you just were able to keep track of what is going on a daily basis or even weekly basis, just by monitoring the levels where it is, you get a great sense of exactly what's going out in the market, and therefore you can keep in touch with the market. So it's important that you track the shares that you own in, or track the shares that you're interested in, or looking at, for example, the All Share. And I think that's something that it takes time, and it takes discipline. If you don't do it on a consistent basis, you're not going to know exactly what's going on in the market.
I love it. So, as in anything in life, what you put in is what you get out. Am I right, super actuaries? Am I right?
Yes, yes, definitely, 100%.
You know what, we're really going to touch on the tools or mechanisms or books or websites that the two of you read just to empower you on this journey and just to empower you when it comes to investing on the JSE. Well, I really want to touch base because you know what I've realized from the past sessions that we've had with winners, they really give us great gems for those of us who are starting on this journey of what makes it easier, people to read, maybe websites to go to. So I'd really like you to keep that at the back of your mind because I'm going to touch base on, you know, the literature that you read or the financial experts that you read or listen to. All right. So moving on to our next question, when it comes to strategies, super actuaries. I think I'm going to name my child super actuary. I'm loving it too much. All right, let's go to blue chip companies or smaller companies. What's your focus, super actuaries? Let's start with you, Shiva.
Okay, so basically we more looked at blue chip companies, those companies in the top 40 and top 40 all share index. Those companies are generally the better companies in the sense that if you want to see an indication as to where the market's going, you want to look on those aspects there. You know, your smaller companies, yes, you may make a profit, but to make a consistent profit on those companies there is quite hard because you have to keep track quite regularly.
Chietza, your thoughts?
It's exactly as what Tiva said. We do look up into the top 40 companies really because of this. The reason he said, you'd see that with the big companies, right? Like you'd see that the returns also, they're quite high because apparently it's a big company. And with the time we have now, we need to have higher returns. So if we invest in the small companies, then you probably need a lot of knowledge on the company, what's going on, everything. And time is really a factor that stops with companies.
Ralph, is this a consistent rule of thumb or methodology, or does it vary from team to team, in your opinion?
You know, I'm sure there's going to be listeners that are out there that are going to say, you know, 68% return in 30 days or 20 working days. How did they do it if they just buy in the top 40 companies? And I think they could probably reveal more by just focusing on the top 40 companies. What exactly were they up to be able to get 68% return in 1 month?
Super actuaries, is there any sector that you've been really focused on using these instruments? I know from past experience, mining has come up a lot. What sectors are you really have been focused on? Super actuaries?
Yes, so we've been focused on mainly banks,
Yes.
gold,
Yes.
and energy and fuel. So that will fall under SASO, right?
Yes.
So yes, the growth is phenomenal, and it's only so because the market worked in our favor. But also, we traded mainly in speculative instruments such as futures and warrants, mainly, not just shares. You know.
Oh, wow.
Because of the futures, you have an opportunity to actually gain quite a bit of ground and cover up quite a bit of ground if you're on the right end of the stick. If not, then you're probably going bust. And so it was basically a risk we took, and in the end, it paid out.
Ralph, what does Shiva mean by speculative? Can you just break that down before we go back to Chietza?
Yeah, you know, speculative really you're dealing with you know, in and out of the market and really dealing with short-term short-term opportunities and short-term returns. And dealing with the speculative instruments like single stock futures and warrants, it's not something that you're going to use for a long-term strategy. It's something that you'd be in and hope that, as you said, that you're on the right side, because if you're on the wrong side, it's going to really hurt. And that's why it's a very speculative instrument that they're using.
JSE, is there anything you'd like to add when we are talking about the instruments or the sectors that you're focused on as Team Super Actuaries?
I guess you said most of it. We are focusing on those things, and also like with warrants, right? Instead of investing mostly in shares, we see that the return for the warrants is pretty high, although the risk attached to it is very high also. So it's a gamble either way. So, but we're just gambling all the way. So trying to make the most of the return from the futures and the warrants.
So this competition, obviously the JSE Investment Challenge allows you to spend 10% on a share. So what percentage amount do they use for each train, Super Actuaries?
Okay, so there were different trades and these sort of stuff and different companies that we traded in. Yeah, some we tried to maximize as much as we could. Although to some extent the restrictions actually do restrict you quite heavily, especially if you can see some opportunity and you want to go all in, you know. So yeah, that's one of the factors that actually play the role. Yeah.
I can tell by your face and your emotions and your facial expressions when you just talk about investing. You thoroughly enjoy it, Shiva. You know, there's like a glint in your eye when you're talking about it. Am I correct?
Yes, 100%.
It's like the cat ate the canary. You love this.
Well, it's all about learning and trying to become better than you were yesterday, you know. And it does
I
take
love
time,
that.
but yeah, hopefully we're growing and learning and starting to move into some sort of direction, you know.
Yes. Chieta, what do you love most about this game?
Like the uncertainty attached to it. You might put something in now, right? And then it goes down and you're thinking, okay, what did I just do? And then the next moment it goes up and then you have like a very high percentage gain. So I like the fact that you're just trying things out. You don't know for certain what's going to come out, but then you're just hoping for the best in the end. And I think I like that part of it.
Ralph, what do you think of these young people's expressions of their experience of the JSE Investment Challenge?
Yeah, I love it. And you can see that the bug has bitten. I love to talk about that expression, that, once you really get into the stock market, it's something that can become extremely addictive. And maybe that's a disclaimer. You guys are focused on your studies. You need to keep focused on your studies. We want you guys to do well. But we also love the fact that you're enjoying it so much.
Great energy, Super Actuaries. I love that. When we come back, we're going to open it up to all of you watching for a Q&A. Don't go away. I missed you all too much, so I'm back in a flash, and welcome to the JSE Investment Challenge. My name is Mboya Arnold, but I'm not alone. I'm with the JSE Tech Experts, and that is Ralph Spears, and of course, Super Actuaries, our winners today. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so we're going to open it up to Q&A, but firstly, let's jump straight into it, Ralph. Who is really doing well, obviously, besides from Super Actuaries on the scoreboard?
Okay, so the Sommeliers are in position number 1 on the monthly scoreboard. I think they got about 13%. And then you've got the Nkunzi traders who we were able to interview, I think it was last month. And they still sitting on the annual scoreboard at about 137% on the scoreboard, very closely followed by another team that's right behind them. So I did speak to them about how they're going to keep that number 1 spot, and it looks like it's becoming quite a bit of a challenge.
Super Actuaries, how are you going to keep the number 1 spot? Shiva.
Yeah, so firstly, we first grateful for actually making back the equity capital and then growing it further from there. But again, this isn't as much growth as we would like, and we
Yeah.
still need to push, given that the other teams didn't shoot themselves in the foot during the first few weeks, as we did. In fact, if we actually stayed out of trading probably for the first few weeks when the COVID pandemic really took a toll on the JSE, we would have probably been sitting much further up on the ranks. So yeah, we need to strategize and come back.
Chietza, what's going to keep you in the number one spot?
Um,
All right, we'll come back to her. I'm not letting her off the hooks because we're the only two women in the house. So let's just talk about the rules of the game while we wait for her reconnectivity again. Ralph, can you speak to us and unpack the rules of the game for those of you who are watching? And don't forget, for also those of you who are watching, the person who is most engaged when it comes to the rules of the game is going to win a beautiful hamper from the JSE Exchange. Ralph, the rules of the game, please.
Yeah, so I think one of the most important rules of the game is to make sure that each team places a minimum of 10 transactions throughout the competition. That's not 10 each month, but throughout the competition, they at least needed to place a trade each month. And that's important. Every month, at least make sure during the dates that we've got on the website that they go and place these trades. Whether it's a buy or sell, it is classified as a trade. And I think that's really the key, that you need to obviously make sure you do comply with that. And you know that for me is key to, you know, I don't want to see teams doing exceptionally well yet they're not actually active right now or not placing a trade in one of the months, because then you are breaking the rules.
Okay, and second rule, if we've got a second important rule, or are we going to stick with that one for today?
Yeah, it goes without saying, but teams can only register for one team, in one team, must be from the same university. So
Okay.
just to make sure that you're part of that. I would also like to then talk about that. You talked about 10%. It's actually 20% that you can buy in any one company with the shares. Schools, you can do 10%. With the university, you can do 20%. However, that is with shares, but with single stock futures, you're able to do 10%. In fact, Chiva actually asked me back studio today about the futures, because we've only just went and uploaded the futures for going forward for the September contracts. So those of you that have probably been looking out for them, they're all loaded this morning. So if you would like to buy any future contracts, you can go and do so. Just go and look at the list. It's been updated and it's there for you all to go and trade.
I love that. So don't forget, all this information is readily available to you at university at jse.co.za. And for the high school learners, it'll be schools at jse.co.za. So we've got our Q&A session open and wide for you and our winners, super actuaries, which I'm so proud of. And most importantly, it's about really opening up this world of investment to the ordinary South African. So Shivar, since you're still on the line with me, let's ask you, books, websites, experts, who are your heroes when it comes to investing, whether international or local? And what do you do on a daily basis besides from trade and besides from attending online lectures at the University of Witwatersrand?
Okay, so some of the sites that we actually looked at for information, and as you know, in trading, information is key and golden
Yeah.
to some extent.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a clear information, you can't make informed decisions.
Yeah.
As with most things. So we used ShareNet as one of our sources. Other source was PSG Online. We use both local and international sources, especially due to this COVID-19. You get
Yes.
leading indicators from around the globe. So you can make decisions to actually counter those as to what's the effects going to take place in the stock market of the JSE itself. And then we use also international focus news from CNN and Bloomberg.
So I'm getting a question here. Okay, it's just I think setting goals, target goals, does help, and that is from Mr. Motata. And we've got another question here. With the increase in unemployment rates, this is great. What could be the implications with the JSE shares? Ralph, do you want to take that? Or Shiva, you can take that. With an increase in unemployment rate, what would be the implication with the JSE shares?
Well, at the current moment, things are uncertain, as I said, due to this COVID pandemic that we face. So certain aspects or certain market segments within the JSE are actually doing quite well, and others not so well. So, for example, if we just think about it rationally, our data providers like MTN, Vodacom, and these sorts of companies in that market segment will most likely be in a prosperous situation due to the fact that we're all online now, you know, and we need mobile devices, we need data, we need Wi-Fi, we need routers, we need these kind of things. So, I mean, those companies are doing well. Whereas if you look at other companies that are actually retrenching and retrenching workers and what have you, they haven't been doing so well. But currently, the government has put in place strategies in order to bump up investments in South Africa. So that they would actually help a lot of companies actually from this recessionary sort of phase into a prosperity phase, you know, and then starting to boom and blossom again.
Beautiful answer. Would you like to add to that, Ralph? That it was great, Shiva. Wow. Ralph?
Yeah, no. You know, at the end of the day, the unemployment rate is extremely high at the moment. But when you look at the value of the companies, you know, some of them have fallen 30, 40% in recent times, then in March. So they're coming from a low base. Yes, unemployment is a scary fact right now. But there's still quite a bit of great value in some of the companies, and that's why some of the companies have been doing well.
Namashu Monde, Sis Namashu say, let's say I decide to trade a future warrant or a warrant and I take the position of a short. Can I actually buy the shares before the future/warrant expires? Shiva, would you like to crack that open?
I think I'll take that one.
Okay.
Basically, yeah, basically at the end of the day, with these futures and warrants, you don't get the shares, you know, when they expire. And so therefore, what you would need to do is you'd need to sell them. So if you want to get rid of them, you can sell them. But we don't give you the physical shares afterwards.
I see you smiling there, Shiva.
Yeah, well, we don't get the shares as physical as Ralph said.
Would you like to add onto what Ralph said?
No, nothing. He's answered it beautifully.
Let's see if there are any other questions coming up. Which analysis tool did you use the most, technical or fundamental analysis, and why? And that's from Sizwe. Which analysis tool did to use the most technical or fundamental analysis, and why?
Well, you've got to use a combination of both tools to look into businesses and to understand, you know, where they stand, especially in this period here, and to get a real good view of what that business is going through, you know, so that we can actually try and make decisions as to whether we buy into those businesses or not, you know, and that's one of the reasons we started to trade into futures and these sorts of instruments as well. Just expanding onto the usual share trades.
Ralph, would you like to add to that? Thank you so much, Shiva.
You know, those are two different methods. A lot of people like to combine them, but also other people like to specialize in them. So, you know, if you're going to follow the technical route, you're going to look at the charts and graphs, you're going to go into the information, and you're going to spend a lot of time obviously going down that route. Some people love to use the fundamentals, and we've got some information that's on the website that you can use to help you with the fundamentals of selecting the companies. So really, it's about personal preference. At the end of the day, you can combine the two, or you can go down one route. They are great subjects, and obviously a lot of information is out there on the webs, and you're able to go and research and see what you can come up with to select the shares.
I love the fact that, a personal preference and your personality and your choices and your experience comes into, your instruments and the methodologies of how you want to become a winner. I find that fascinating. So Martha is asking us, how do we differentiate shares? Shiva, for you.
Okay, I'm not sure in terms of differentiate what we mean. Yeah.
Interpret it any way that you would like. Of course, you're a winner. Take it any way you want to.
Okay, so differentiate shares. I would take it in context that in terms of how do we pick our shares, or
Beautiful.
actually look at choosing different shares. So as I said, we have to do quite a bit of research based on the sites that I've listed thus far. We look into the information as to what the company is doing. Also, one of the key ideas to look into companies is what are their future plans, because if you
Beautiful.
invest in long term or slightly a longer term duration, then you obviously want to know that the company has some sort of certainty, some sort of plans in action to actually reverse the downside effects of COVID-19 and any downside effects the market is currently feeling. So those are some of the main aspects. But as I said, we went for blue chip companies mainly. So banks, gold, Sasol, and that's how we managed to stay on top, because these companies, obviously do have a plan as to how to come back, and they don't seem to be, going out of the market anytime soon.
I think that cap that you're wearing is giving you superpowers. I definitely want one because your answers are supernova. What do you think, Rolf?
I think it's fantastic. In fact, I see there's a lot of actually people on Facebook actually asking more questions about his positions. And Shiva, maybe you can answer that, or really around on how, on average, how long do you keep the future warrant positions? Shiva.
Yes. So again, it depends on what we're trading futures and warrants on, right? So we need to remember that if we're hoping something goes down, how long are we looking for that to go down? Or if we're hoping for something to go up, how long, do we expect this to? And then we also need to close off trades if they're not working, So it's also about being active on your trading as well on a day-to-day basis. Because if you're not actively trading, you have no perception of what's happening in the market itself. And then if you bought a warrant or a future on day one, and you leave it for too long and you don't know what's happening, then you may be losing big time money, and you may be out of the game quite easily. So you always need to keep track of where you are and how the stocks are going, and decide based on that whether to close a futures trade or still leave it open if there's more prospects of making more money out of it.
So Shiva, consistency is key, right?
Consistency, I would say, is key. Due to this pandemic, I don't know about that too much.
Yeah.
So yeah, but consistently trading, yes. But consistency in terms of how the market's behaving nowadays, it's very hard to predict. And I'm sure it's also very hard for economists and these kind of guys to actually predict as well. So yeah.
Rolf, do you have anything to add to Shavir?
Yeah, so maybe just a follow-up question on that. Do you go and look at the companies and base a decision as to where you're going to exit? Is it a certain percentage? Is it a certain level? How do you go about making that decision? Once you've opened that position, are you looking for a percentage return, 10%, 5%? or is it based on each company? It varies completely.
Well, so based on each company, but we haven't traded on too much of variety, you know. So based on the few companies we have traded, we've looked at specific targets on each one and when to actually close it. Now, I think one of the key things is that a good investor is one who closes out the investments early, and you probably won't juice out all the returns, but you must be happy with what you actually get. And to some extent, that's what we've been trying to follow.
You see what happens when you're a winner? We want all that brain matter. We want all of that brain matter, Shavir. You are absolutely fantastic. And you're really getting some shout outs. And you can see the questions. People are really, really enjoying and validating and valuing your answers. Thank you so much. You've been such a star. As you said there, Sizwe is thank you so much for the detailed answer. Shavir, as a winner, what would you say? Last question for you, Shavir. What would you say that you are confident enough to invest your own money in the stock market? That's a great question. Thank you so much, Sizwe. So, Shavir, as a winner, would you say that you are confident enough to invest your own money in the stock market?
Yes, I think I'm fairly confident to invest my own money. Currently, I don't have any much. Therefore, the actuarial profession, I'm hoping, actually pays me quite a handsome reward. And then with the knowledge of the JSE and being, actually I've come from the schools competition and then grown into university competition as well.
Lovely.
So it's given me quite a bit of experience through this challenge, and I've learned quite a lot. So based on that knowledge of the JSE and on the fact that I am currently studying actuarial science, and they go hand in hand, I would be fairly confident in actually investing my own money on the stock market.
We are missing Shitsa, your teammates, Shietza, your teammates so much. There she is. I call upon you and you arrive. We've missed you in the Q&A.
I'm sorry about that. I had technical difficulties. My bad.
But let me tell you something, your teammate has been holding it down. Okay, since you've missed out on a couple of questions, we're going to have a couple of questions just for you, lady. So what is your perspective on the future of Motus? I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Is it a position you would hold forward the competition? Ralph, can you help? Yes, I would like you to answer that if you can. If not, Ralph, it's all yours.
Can Keith answer that for me? I'm not too sure about that one.
Ralph, can you help us out here?
Yes, I'd actually like to take this question and just turn it really around to say, at the end of the day, this is a virtual platform, and therefore, we're playing with virtual money. I'm just concerned that
Yes.
based on the previous question, we said, would we go and start investing with real money? And I think you guys need to be very careful, those that are listening, both live as well as the recording. None of this is advice. This is a game after all. And so therefore, take it as a game. At the end of the day, we are trying to help educate you to be able to trade, but you just need to be careful for those that are listening to this. As far as Motus goes, I don't have a view on that particular company. Unfortunately, it's not one of the companies that I do follow. For me personally, I also do look probably top 40 mid-cap companies are the companies that I would really look at. But at the end of the day, I'm probably more conservative, maybe because of my age, but exchange traded funds. And that's exactly what Shiva's actually gone and won as a team. The super actuaries have got a chance now to actually take real money and now place it in the stock market, because that's the prize. You get this exchange traded funds that you are now able to decide on which exchange traded fund to buy. And that's the benefits of winning. And so he can really go and practice what he's learned over time.
Thank you so much, Ralph and Shiva. You really held it down in the Q&A session. We're going to move on to the closing part of our show, and that is where Shietza, you and I are really going to connect because we missed you in the Q&A. We'll be back in a bit. Welcome back, everybody, and you're watching the JSE Investment Challenge. I hope you've really enjoyed the show. I hope you've really learned. I hope we've really unpacked the strategies that will help you get onto the world of than that, help you into educating yourself into financial literacy. As Ralph has said in the beginning of the show, this is a virtual game, but it's all in very good preparation when you earn good money and invest in the real world. So I'd really like to wrap the show saying congratulations once again to our winners, and that is Super Actuaries as per their name. Well done, congratulations. Shiva, you just soared in that Q&A session, but I'd like to give your teammates, my woman in arms, compadrete, a shout out and to say congratulations. I know this usually can be interpreted as a really man's world, but what has helped you along the way? I did ask Shiva, what books does he read? What websites does he go to? I know you're studying at WITS in the actual science space, but on your personal front, what helps you do what you do best when it comes to investing on a personal note?
Well, on a personal note, I keep track of what's happening in the whole world because these things are not only determined by what's going on in South Africa. So then I tend to read mostly on the Wall Street Journal, the journals, financial journals, and maybe things that happen in Asia, but mostly America, that is. Yeah.
Fantastic. And books, any experts that you'd really like to give a shout out to for those of us who really want to empower themselves when it comes to more knowledge?
I don't really take note of authors when I'm reading. I just get a journal because then I'm registered on this academia thing, right? So then I get constantly, every day I get an email on a journal written by someone. So then if you register on that website, you get things. So maybe when I'm going to sleep and then I just read throughout, okay, how do you go into this investment thing? That's how I do it.
So what would you, a word of advice to those of us who are scared to jump into the challenge or have really never taken the leap to find out what the challenge is all about or the world of investing? Give us a couple of words of advice or words of encouragement, Chietza, through your past experience.
Okay, so the best thing with this thing is that it's virtual money, it's not actual money. So that there's no reason whatsoever stopping you to start into this thing. So I'll advise people, get into it. If you don't have much knowledge on how to go about it, you can easily ask. It's not like an assessment where you have to do it on your own. You have to ask people, ask around, gain more knowledge on how to do it, read widely, and yeah, I guess that would be helpful. And jump into the challenge because it's helpful if anything, because in the end you get experience, and then later you can actually use your own money. I guess maybe at this point also, I'm a bit confident in saying that after this whole challenge, maybe I could go for another round if that's possible, and then afterwards then I can actually put my own money up and use the knowledge I've gotten from this challenge to make returns, make something out of the whole thing.
Thank you so much, Ralph. Before we announce the JSE Hamper Prize to the most engaged viewer, wasn't it wonderful that Shavir did say to us that he actually started off in the schools challenge and just continued at a university level? I mean, that's what we want from the JSE Investment Challenge. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, that's beautiful. Being able to take it from one step from the junior level, going from the income game to the equity game to the speculator game, and now university. There's a journey that we're taking everyone on, and we'd love those that are listening, whether you're at school, to go and register schools.jsc.co.za, and then university, it's still open. You can still go register university.jsc.co.za.
Beautiful. And we have the winner of our JSE Hamper, Ralph.
Yes, we're waiting for drum rolls. We would like to play a bit of drum rolls before we go ahead with the actual winners details.
Drum roll.
And we're going to give it to Sizwe that was answering all the questions, asking all the questions. Sizwe.
I completely concur. Completely concur. Congratulations, Sizwe. Thank you for being so engaged. That's the kind of engagement we want on the show. So we're wrapping it up. thank you and congratulations again to Team Super Actuaries. You guys are fantastic. You were great to have on the show today. I loved your energy. Your enthusiasm for what you're doing is really palatable, and I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for inspiring the rest of us that it is possible and it is doable, and you can have a great time doing it as well. Thank you so much and congratulations. Ralph, I could never do the show without you. And to those of you, try and go on this journey with the rest of us. We don't all end up as experts, but we can take that first step. So I'd love to finish off with a quote from Benjamin Franklin: an investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. From me, Hlubimboya, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's Q&A of the JSE Investment Challenge. Stay home, stay safe, and save lives. Bye for now.